Hi there everyone, GuardianE here with another live reaction and first impression video for Fire Emblem Heroes. And tonight we are getting the reveal of the next, it's Mythic, right? Mythic Hero? That's going to hit in just a couple of days now. I couldn't remember if we're on the Legendary or Mythic cycle. Have the trailer pulled up, haven't looked at it, haven't looked at the thumbnail or the title or any leaks or data mines or whatever. So I don't know what's coming. We're going to go into this raw, we're going to watch it, react to it as it comes up, and then also take a second gander at the banner and the unit to see if ultimately I think this is a banner that is worth summoning on. So let us get started. Wait for the text to leave, and there we go. Okay. It is a Mythic. A new Mythic hero joins the battle, not a Legendary. Looks like a big blob. Oh! Okay. Earth Dragon King, this is going to be Medeus? Yes. Infantry, Colorless Dragon. Alright, Shadow Breath, Glacies, Ideal 4, Assured Rebirth, Canto Control. Come on, man. Alright, well, I mean, let's reserve judgment, I guess. Okay. Alright, what do we got? Okay. I mean, I kind of see what Canto Control does. Okay. Suffer and die. And I'll say why I'm kind of grimacing at that in a minute when we actually look at his skills. So, Julia, we got Altina, Mirabilis as well on here. We got Hell, Dimitri, okay, Micaiah. Oh, odor. Oh, God. Does it smell in here, or did, like, a rotten otter walk in? Alright, Idun, what else? That's pretty nice selection, actually, overall. Okay. So that is going to be starting on the 28th of April, 2022, and it should extend for an entire week. Yeah, so we are going to be getting Medeus. I mean, I think that's a very appropriate pick for a Mythic hero, and one that I think people would have expected to show up at some point or another. So, alright, so let's take a closer look at Medeus here. Here's his art. He is going to be an infantry colorless dragon. Art-wise, I think it looks great. I mean, I think they did a great job. It looks... there's so much detail in the fabric and the textures of his robes, and you have that kind of, that dark energy just emanating from him. Very, very cool. He looks as menacing as he should, and his attacking art really dynamic. You have that explosion of energy behind him. You have the glint of the flare that's in his hand that he's casting. I think you couldn't really ask for much more for the character. I think they did a good job. Alright, so let's take a look at the kit. Bear in mind, he is an infantry colorless dragon. He's got Shadow Breath, 16 might, grants attack +3 at start of turn, grants attack res +6, and On Guard to unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit for 1 turn. If foe initiates combat, or if foe's HP is greater than or equal to 75% at the start of combat, inflicts attack res -6 on foe during combat, and foe cannot make a follow-up attack. If foe's range is equal to 2, okay, so it has adaptive damage. On Guard, neutralizes damage outside of combat from skills like Poison Strike, structures like Bolt Tower, etc., except damage dealt by area of effects. Oh, okay. Okay, I guess that's okay. I mean, I do know that certain strategies in Aether Raids revolve around the Bolt Tower, and the Bolt Tower can be a powerful asset. So in and of it looks like he's also more defensive oriented. So on like kind of a stalling defensive team, being able to completely neutralize the effects of the Bolt Tower, it can actually be pretty potent. I myself don't really use the Bolt Tower that much, but I know that there are strategies that revolve around it. So this is obviously centered around that particular element of it. It also obviously includes Poison Strike, and I would think something like Savage Blow as well. So just bear that in mind. It's an okay special. Again, it seems like it centers around that particular utility that is really kind of pigeonholed to specific niche uses. Glacies for the special. For the A-slot, defense res ideal 4. Once again, pretty good for a stalling unit. If he's going to have formidable defenses, Basically going to have +7 to defense and res as long as there's a bonus active, or he has 100% HP. If he has both of those things, get an additional +2 for a total of +9 each. Assured Rebirth for the B slot. If unit's res is greater than foe's res, unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack. Okay. Reduces damage from attacks during combat and from AoE specials, excluding Rocker, by percentage equal to the number of staff or dragon allies within 3 spaces of unit times 20. And also, if unit's res is greater than foe's res, difference between stats times 4. So max 40%, total max 60%. Okay, so I don't know 100% if I'm reading this right, but it sounds like each of those damage reduction effects can have up to 40%. So each component can have up to 40%, but total, you can only have a maximum of 60%. So you can kind of mix and match conditions, it feels like, in order to get the maximum damage reduction, which is 60%, which is a lot. That's nothing to scoff at, and it's not as though it's limited to the first hit or the last hit or consecutive hits. I mean, it's just pervasive. It just persists. So he's essentially always going to have that damage reduction as long as you meet the condition, which is, again, a unique team composition, so it's a unique condition that we're seeing. But then, of course, there's also just the stat differential, which is something that we do see, pretty commonly. So the Assured Rebirth with the damage reduction also guarantees a follow-up attack, and then the Shadow Breath weapon does prevent a follow-up attack from the enemy. So, again, we're seeing kind of like the same rhythmic effects of, like, skills that prevent damage reduction, or skills that prevent follow-up attacks and grant follow-up attacks, and then skills that neutralize follow-up attack skills and neutralize non-follow-up. Yeah, you get the picture. So Canto Control 3. So let's read through it first. If foes within 4 spaces of unit triggers Canto, inflicts Canto Control. Canto Control! Canto Control limits the number of spaces target can move with Canto through their next action. If target's range equal to 1, target can move 1 extra space when Canto triggers. If target's range is equal to 2, target's action ends when Canto triggers. I see. Now, I am aware that Canto Control isn't technically new, because Canto Control, the effect, is actually a part of Mikoto's Weapon Refine. So we've technically seen it before, but I wasn't a fan of it then when it was incorporated, and I'm certainly not a fan of it being its own skill for the C slot that's inheritable, and that's all the effect that it does. People hate Canto, especially in certain game modes, and I totally get that, and I totally understand why people are craving some sort of a realistic, pragmatic counter to it. Totally understand that. The reason why I don't like Canto Control 3 is not because it counters Canto, it's more because it is a band-aid solution to specifically target a strategy. So it has no utility outside of that specific instance where you're dealing with somebody with Canto. That is the only use for this skill. And I really loathe that, because, again, it's super lazy. It's not a mechanism by which you introduce a new mechanic to specifically, create altering strategies or ways to sort of neuter the Canto's effectiveness. No, they're just throwing out another skill that specifically just targets it and has no utility outside of that. And I think that is super, super lazy, and we're seeing it more and more often. I kind of went on a mini rant. I can't even remember which trailer it was. It wasn't that long ago, where, again, I feel like they were specifically targeting a skill, and it's so lazy. And specific instances here and there, it's not a big deal, but the fact is that I'm seeing kind of a trend of it happening over and over again, where they're just haphazardly slapping and band-aiding these skills in here that have no purpose other than targeting another skill. And then they're going to introduce another skill that counters this control skill. And then they're going to introduce another skill that counters that. It never ends. And it's just like a limitless source of them marketing and pushing these skills that people that don't know any better think that they need in order to compete, when you really don't. I don't know. I don't like it, and I don't like it. It feels like this entire unit is like kind of built around these things. Like, it's just damage reduction incarnate, and then has Canto Control 3, which quite frankly is actually very soft on the counter to to Canto, because it's not as though it completely disables Canto. It just like reduces the Canto for non-ranged. So it really it really specifically targets like Yuri and other like problem units out there, like Erica. So again, it's like it's almost worse. Like it's almost like not like it doesn't completely counter Canto. It actually specifically counters like Canto effects that are like special. Again, I'm not a fan, and I'm sorry to be very negative here, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just in a bad mood. I just don't like it. I don't care for it, and I feel like this trend of just creating Band-Aid after Band-Aid ends up. It's not healthy. I mean, I've played my share of gacha all over the place, so I know what that's like, and I know how developers approach these types of things, and there are ways to integrate and expand and create soft counters to things without doing something like this. And then, so he's got the damage reduction, incarnate, Canto control, and then his weapon is just like this kind of odd utility to disable, again, a specific strategy. So again, he has this specialized utility all over the place, but none of it is really amazing or that versatile. So to me, I'm really rather underwhelmed. Putting aside the fact that that I have some misgivings about the sort of the design element of his kit and skills. That aside, I also just feel like he's not really that great. I mean, he's fine, and I think he's also going to be super annoying to fight against if a strategy is built around him. But he's not going to have a lot of utility outside of that. I guess is what I'm getting at. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's going to be fine, and I'm sure he's going to be super tanky, do lots of damage, and be really annoying at shutting down certain strategies. But beyond that, I'm not really that terribly impressed. So taking a look at the banner as a whole, Medeus is going to be coming alongside Elamine and Micaiah in the colorless pool. That's not bad. Elamine, again, shuts down a lot of strategies out there with her ability. It's very unique to her as well, so there is some utility there. And then Micaiah is great too. So for blue, we have Dimitri, we have Julia, and we have Ascended to Dune. I don't know if it's just me. It feels super early to get Ascended to Dune. I feel like it wasn't that long ago when she came out, but I could be way off. Like, I may just be misremembering the timeline. But that notwithstanding, Dimitri and Julia are both great. Idun is also excellent, but not limited either. Although if you do get her here, you'll get an Ascended Floret. I think, honestly, this color is almost on par with colorless. Maybe a little bit under, especially because Idun isn't limited. But I don't think it's that far off from colorless, honestly. For red, we have Altina, we have Mirabilis, and we have Flavia. I think that is decidedly poorer showing than the other colors. Not terribly remarkable. I mean, Flavia's fine. She's actually decent as a new hero. Doesn't have anything really that remarkable for inheritance. She has a feud skill. Altina is severely aged at this point. I mean, she's still fine. She's still solid, but I mean, nothing really that coveted right now. Mirabilis as well has been around, and the competition is fierce now for flying dancers, and she's been on several banners where she was guaranteed. So I don't really see green being too valuable, too of a high value prospect. And then for green, we have Hel, we have Thor, and we have Otter. Now, my own personal bias aside, because I think Otter is a piece of trash, green's actually pretty good. Otter, despite being a piece of trash, is actually a highly effective unit. Thor is excellent, and Hel is actually quite strong. So I would say that green is probably the second best color on the banner. Even with Otter kind of dragging the whole thing down. That being said, if I think people were hunting Thor, they probably would have gone in on the all-green banner. That wasn't that long ago. So, I don't know. That does sort of change the landscape a little bit for probably, I'm sure, a lot of the player base at this point. But that being said, it's still a solid color overall. So if I had to rank the colors in terms of value, I would say that colorless and green are actually fairly neck and neck. They're pretty darn close together. And then pretty close behind that, I would probably put blue, and then red I would put well below that. So that's kind of my overall ranking and of the different colors that are currently on this banner, and if you're looking for my advice in terms of which color to be sniping for. So once again, starting on the 28th of April and extending for an entire week, Medeus, Earth Dragon King, is going to be in the game. Me personally, I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole. I think that maybe I'll do the first full circle like I traditionally do with a mythic banner or a legendary banner, but I actually don't need anybody here. The one unit that I actually want the most is probably Ascended Idune, and she's not limited. So I feel like could probably pretty easily pass on this one. Actually, I wouldn't mind Micaiah either. But let me know in the comments below if you're excited for Medeus, if you're excited for the other units on this banner, the banner as a whole, if you're going to be summoning for it, who you're going to be summoning for. If you disagree with my rant, think I'm just an idiot shaking his fist at clouds, let me know in the comments below. It's all welcome. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to leave us a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. We thank you all so much for watching and for taking time out of your day to spend with us. We really, really do appreciate it. And until next time, let's protect those skies.